And if everything goes well, these two guys are going to fight each other in 2026. That's the agreement.
Believe me, I think between each other, Boots and Vergil, that's the biggest fight I want.
I love the fight between him and Vergil. I think that's a top-notch fight right there. That's Sugar Ray Duran right there. You know what I mean? Of this era. So
if Boots signed to fight me, that doesn't mean I'm obligated. Like that's what I mean when I say like I'm not gonna wait for anyone. Like we were both offered the fight already. We said yes, and if both sides wanted it, then it would have happened.
Just like you, that's what makes good fights. Young, hungry fighters.
right,
That's when there's gonna be a fight.
right.
They fighting for legacy. They fighting for that. They want that big bag. They want to be a champion. They want all that stuff. So that fight right there.
The boxing world may have just gotten a blockbuster announcement. Vergil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis are reportedly set to face each other in 2026, with both sides agreeing to terms for the showdown. Trainer Andre Rozier reacted by saying this is exactly the kind of fight fans should want. He admitted it would be a difficult challenge for Boots, but because Ennis is family to him, he's eager to see him prove himself. Rozier praised Ennis' skill set while also acknowledging Ortiz's relentless danger, calling it a matchup that would be thrilling, risky, and extremely hard to predict.
Listen, I love the fight. I have to definitely side with nephew. Boots is, I think his talent is very, very, very good, and I think it's going to be difficult. But Vergil is a monster. So
Robert Garcia said the fight he wants most is Ortiz against Boots Ennis. In his view, no other matchup at 154 pounds comes close, regardless of who owns the championship belt. Garcia believes the promotion should begin immediately because he's convinced this could become the biggest fight of the year and the defining event of the division.
That makes the more sense is Boots Ennis. Boots just fought. We're gonna fight in 4 weeks. Hopefully Boots comes to Dallas and they start building up the fight because believe me, I think between each other, Boots and Vergil, that's the biggest fight at 154. It doesn't matter if Fundora has the WBC belt. It doesn't matter if the WBA, the WBO. It doesn't matter what the other belts, the other champions are doing.
Meanwhile, Jaron Ennis spoke about how much better he feels after moving up to 154 pounds. He explained that his training camp has been completely different compared to his days at 147. According to Boots, his energy level stayed high throughout camp and even during fight week. He felt so strong and refreshed that he believed he could have continued sparring right up until fight night. For him, the move in weight came at exactly the right moment and may have been the best decision of his career.
I could eat a little more. I felt way stronger throughout the whole camp, even during like fight week. You know how sometimes in fight week when you cutting weight, some fighters they'll understand what I'm saying. Like when you at 147, and I was like coming up and cutting weight and stuff like that. During fight week, you get those times and points where you don't want to do anything, like your last training day or like during fight week, you just don't want to do nothing. You just be on some lazy stuff. You just ready to get it over it. But me moving to 154 and this training camp that I had a phenomenal training camp. But the last week of training camp, I feel like I had a bunch of energy. I could have sparred all the way up till fight day. Like I just like real like energized and things like that. So I felt great, having a 154 camp, and I'm glad I think I did the right thing at the right time.
Ennis also addressed the possibility of facing Terrence Crawford. He said he heard Crawford explain in an interview that he has no interest in returning to 154 pounds for that fight. Boots added that Crawford should simply enjoy his massive victory over Canelo Alvarez. In his opinion, beating Canelo elevated Crawford to the top of the sport, and he has earned the right to choose whichever opponent he wants next.
About him fighting me, and I heard him say he's not gonna fight me.
Why?
Yeah, I guess he said not come back down to 154. So let that man enjoy his victory. He just beat Canelo. The face of boxing. So that makes Canelo. I mean, that makes Crawford the face of boxing at the moment. And he earned the right to fight whoever he want to fight. And
Ariel Helwani then revealed more details about the Ortiz and Ennis discussions. He said Eddie Hearn and Oscar de la Hoya had been talking about making the fight happen in the future, with the idea being that both men would first win their current bouts and then meet in 2026. Helwani said Ennis had already agreed to the plan, while Ortiz's side wanted to revisit everything after the next fight. He later confirmed that he had heard the same information from multiple sources and that the matchup made perfect sense for Ortiz.
They talked about you versus Vergil, and essentially what was said, and I want to get your take on it now, that, hey, we're going to do this fight a couple weeks ago, the one that you won. You're going to do your fight, and if everything goes well, these two guys are going to fight each other in 2026. That's the agreement. What Eddie said was they went back to you, you signed. You said you were in.
I signed like that.
In. No problems, no questions, nothing.
Nope.
They went back to Vergil. This is what he said. And they were like, we're going to do our fight, and then we're going to revisit this. Is that what you're hearing as well?
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. You know, that's understandable though. You know, you gotta stay on task of what's in front of you. You know, and not overlooking nobody.
But you agreed before your fight.
Yeah, I did, but
Yeah.
I still was locked in on Lima. You know, even when people was asking me about the Ortiz situation, I wouldn't even say nothing about it. I'd be like, October 11th, we focusing on Lima, and that's it.
Vergil Ortiz offered a different version of the story. He claimed that both fighters were approached about the fight, but that Ennis' team initially declined. Ortiz said he was told Boots Camp preferred to take a few tune-up fights first before committing. He felt that was unfair, especially because his own move to 154 pounds was not a strategic choice, but the result of a serious illness that required hospitalization. Now, however, Ortiz believes Ennis' team may have changed its position, opening the door for the fight to happen after just one more bout.
We were both offered a fight already, and he said no. And from my manager, he told us, because the manager's the one talking to you. Yeah. All the people's managers, to other, whatever. But he said that he needed 2 tune-up fights for the fight. Whether 2 or 1 is true or not, or they changed their mind, because it's looking like they changed their mind already if they're going 1 and then supposedly to me next. But that's what it was at the time, and they said they needed 2 tune-ups, and now I don't know. You know, and people want to give me shit because I took 2 tune-ups when I moved up to 154. But the difference is I had a life-threatening illness and I couldn't make 147. I was hospitalized, and we had to make sure that I was good and healthy to keep on fighting.
Gabriel Rosado was also asked about the potential showdown, and he couldn't hide his excitement. He called Ortiz versus Ennis one of the best matchups of this generation. Rosado agreed with those who believe Boots should eventually become one of boxing's biggest stars, praising his speed, power, and ability to switch stances. He also highlighted Ennis' intelligent pressure, saying Boots knows how to break opponents down without wasting energy and can take control of a fight very quickly.
Fight right there. That's Sugar Ray Duran right there. You know what I mean? Of this era. So I love that fight.
Eddie Hearn was telling me that he feels that Boots is the natural successor to Terrence Crawford. Are you as high on Boots in that comparison, or what do you make?
I think Boots, you know, he got the speed, he got the power. He has the ability to switch orthodox and southpaw. So he has a lot of tools in his arsenal, man. So, you know what I mean? I think his I guess what would be his biggest flaw, but at the same time, is his greatest asset, is that he could box you and it'd be a boring match, but that's not him. He like to walk you down, so he does give.
Danny Garcia had a similarly high opinion of Ennis. He said Boots has the talent to become the best fighter in the world, especially if he lands a major victory. Garcia believes a fight with Vergil Ortiz would be the perfect opportunity because it pits 2 young, hungry contenders against each other. When asked for a prediction, he leaned toward Ennis, arguing that Ortiz's tendency to stay in front of his opponents could play directly into Boots' strengths.
So can he be pound for pound one of the top fighters in the world, 1, 2, or 3 at some point?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's already around there. Like, you know, he's looking to crack that top 10.
Right.
You know, with the right win, I think he'll get in there.
Right. How do you feel about him going up to 154 and maybe people want to see him and Vergil Ortiz?
I think that's the fight. I mean, you win that fight, we definitely in the top 10 to me.
Right.
You know,
for sure.
That's a young champion, a young killer just like you. That's what makes good fights. Young, hungry fighters.
Right.
That's when you know there's gonna be a fight. You know.
Right.
They fighting for legacy. They fighting for that. They want that big bag. They want to be a champion. They want all that stuff. So that fight right there is probably would be like a fight of the year type fight.
Who wins?
I think Boots beats him just because Vergil he can fight, but I think he's going to be in front of him. He's going to be in front of Boots, and that's his style.
Golden Boy Promotions executive Eric Gomez then added more fuel to the debate. He said the company offered Jaron Ennis a fight with Vergil Ortiz twice this year. According to Gomez, Ennis' side passed both times, citing reasons such as wanting a warm-up fight first and needing to see how his body responded at 154 pounds. Gomez expressed frustration, saying many elite fighters publicly call for Ortiz, but hesitate when a real offer is placed in front of them.
Hey, Vergil, one guy that I forgot to mention is Boots Ennis. We were offered to fight twice this year, but for whatever reason, Boots said, you know, I want to do a tune-up fight first, or I want to do a fight first at 54 to see how my body feels. Then I'll consider fighting Vergil. So we've been dealing with a lot of that. A lot of the top guys, they say they want to fight Vergil, but when it comes down to it,
not everyone agrees with Eddie Hearn's view of the matchup. One analyst argued that calling Ortiz's style perfect for Ennis overlooks how dangerous Vergil really is. After watching Ortiz's recent performances, he described him as a relentless force who drags opponents into his kind of fight. He believes Ortiz is now a completely different threat at 154 pounds because his health issues are behind him and he has fully grown into the division. In his eyes, this is a true 50-50 fight, not a stylistic layup for Boots.
Dennis says Eddie Hearn. I disagree. I mean, Vergil Ortiz can mix it up. Vergil Ortiz will make you work for it. Anyone beating Vergil Ortiz knows that they're going to have to go to the f***ing well. Pardon my French. He will make you work. This guy is an animal. I saw it against Majimov. Majimov was having his way and he was dancing and he was jumping around and he was doing all that. And then all of a sudden Vergil was like, we ain't doing that shit no more. Got him into the corner and was working. And all of a sudden Majimov starts fighting Vergil's fight. Vergil's a big problem. He's now grown into the 154 pound division as well. So he's got all those problems that he had with the illnesses of trying to make 147s done. There's no way his style's tailor-made. It's a great fight. It's a 50-50 fight.
Tim Bradley saw it differently and made a very bold prediction. He said Vergil Ortiz has virtually no chance of beating Jaron Boots Ennis. Bradley even advised Ortiz to focus on defeating Sebastian Fundora-level competition before thinking about Boots. He believes an Ennis fight would become a showcase of pure skill and that Ortiz would struggle badly against Boots' athleticism and versatility.
Ain't beating no Boots. When y'all gonna listen, y'all ain't got to listen. Y'all ain't got to listen. Oh, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. Ooh, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is. Oh yeah, go ahead, Vergil. Get past Lupin. Get past Lupin. Make sure you take care of business. Yeah, the next fight is gonna be against Boots Ennis, and you ain't. Man, listen to me, people. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Vergil Ortiz later clarified that agreeing to a future fight does not mean he is obligated to wait around for it. He explained that when the matchup was first proposed, his side immediately said yes, but the fight never materialized, which he believes indicates the other side declined initially. Ortiz emphasized that he will continue moving forward with his career and won't put everything on hold for one opponent, suggesting that the new agreement alone does not guarantee the fight will happen.
That doesn't mean I'm obligated. Like, I still, that's what I mean when I say, like, I'm not going to wait for anyone. Like, we were both offered the fight already. We said yes. And if, you know, if both sides wanted it, then it would have happened already. You know, so it's kind of the same thing with Xander. Like, we did say yes. And I mean, the fight's not happening, regardless of who said no or not. The people that said yes was my side. So now that he signed with Eddie to say that we're gonna fight, like, that has nothing to do with me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it
When Jaron Ennis signed with Matchroom, Eddie Hearn said the Ortiz fight was fully agreed upon and even included in the paperwork. He claimed his team signed the deal, But Golden Boy remained quiet for a period before eventually announcing a different fight for Ortiz. Hearn said Golden Boy later told him they still wanted the matchup, and he believes they were sincere. Even so, he admitted the situation left him disappointed because he considered Ortiz versus Ennis one of the very best fights that could be made in boxing.
Ortiz. We sat in a room, me, Oscar de la Hoya, Eric Gomez, and the top DAZN execs in America. We talked about how a deal would work with those two fighters, and we agreed on a deal. We went away, we signed a new deal with Boots. Part of that deal, within the contract, was the deal that we agreed with Golden Boy and DAZN to fight Vergil Ortiz. Boots signed it. Now, we didn't hear anything back. We told them we're going to fight in October. They said they're going to fight in November, and we haven't heard anything back. On Tuesday, Eric Gomez called me, and he said, look, I just wanted to let you know, we're fighting Lubin. After that,
Oscar de la Hoya strongly pushed back against the idea that Boots wants to fight. He claimed Ennis' team changed course and walked away from negotiations after the early discussions. De La Hoya said he will only believe the fight is real when he sees a signed contract for Boots' side. He also made it clear that in his opinion, Vergil Ortiz is the top fighter in the 154-pound division until someone proves otherwise.
I mean, that's what happened, right? We called them out. We had a fight, and then they backtracked. So until I see something on paper that Boots wants to fight Vergil, then I'll believe it.
Why do you think he doesn't want to fight him?
Because we had everybody was calling each other out, and then all of a sudden,
Boozy Ennis, Boots' father and trainer, said he challenged his son to make a statement in his most recent fight, and he believed that's exactly what happened. He revealed that both sides had already agreed to face each other, but first they must take care of their next opponents. Boozy also said Boots is now a far stronger and more complete fighter at 154 pounds after spending nearly a decade dealing with a difficult weight cut to 147.
Play around, go out there, and make a statement. He made the statement. He did. Now the pressure on every boxing fan's mind is going to be what we wait. You heard what he said in the ring? Call out everybody. All right, there you go. Ideally, we don't care. We want whoever got them belt. Vergil is the fight is done from that deal. Vergil got to get past Lubin. That's what he got to get past Lubin.
But there was an agreement already made, supposedly.
Okay, if we don't get past Lubin, what about who we gonna fight him?
Is Vergil style tailor-made for Boots?
All the styles are tailor-made for Boots. But like I said, y'all didn't see nothing yet, man. You know what I mean? I told you don't go out there and play. Like I told you.
Much better at 154, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, hell, what? He had 147 for what? 10 years, man. 10 years.